Istisna financing.
Assalamualaikum, I'm Aine. I'm studying accounting at IIUM, and today we are gonna to explore about Istisna financing, one of the Islamic banking's product. Buckle up, it's gonna be interesting, right? Okay, in this vlog, we will explore about Istisna financing through a comparative study of Bank Muamalat Berhad and Banquet Finance House by analyzing their financial reports from 2018 to 2022. By the way, I will explain about the definition, types, and principle of Istisna financing first. Let's go! Introduction.
Let us see how manufacturing projects can be financed. Let us discuss about Istisna, manufacturing contract. It is a contract of sale of specified items to be manufactured or constructed. The payment towards purchases of those items is made either in advance or in different stages as per the progress of the manufacturing or constructions, or can also be made at the end. Istisna is applied to products such as home finance, project finance, etc. Let us take an example. The customer needs financing for construction. The customer enters into an Istisna contract with the Islamic Bank. According to this arrangement, the Islamic Bank will get the construction done based on the specifications agreed and will deliver the constructed project to the customer. Generally, the payments from the customer would be deferred and paid on regular basis based on the progress of construction. As the Islamic Bank is not in the business of construction, it will enter into a separate arrangement with a third-party contractor to get the project constructed and delivered. This is also done on Istisna basis. Upon completion, the third-party contractor will hand over the project to the Islamic Bank, and the Islamic Bank will deliver the project to the customer. The difference in the Istisna sale price between the Islamic Bank and the third-party contractor and the Islamic Bank and the customer will be the profit for the Islamic Bank.
Types.
There are two types of Istisna: the normal Istisna and the parallel Istisna. For the first Istisna, which is a normal contract between the buyer and the seller, whereby the second Istisna involved when the buyer did not specifically stated that the seller should manufacture the subject matter himself. So the seller can enter into a second Istisna contract with another manufacturer to manufacture the goods for the buyer.
Principles.
There are several principles under the Istisna contract. The first principle is legitimacy. All Istisna contract is valid as long as it does not contradict with Sharia rule. Besides, subject matter must be known and specific in order to remove gara. The specification include kind, type, quality, and quantity. Secondly, there must be a fixed future delivery date. This is to avoid gara. The third principle, the price should be known. The fourth principle is binding nature of contract. If the contract is not binding, the buyer can rescind the contract at the time of delivery. Fifth, legal consequences of Istisna. The legal consequences of Istisna is to transfer reciprocally the title of ownership between the buyer and the seller and entitles the seller to the contract price. Next, the buyer can insert a penalty clause in the contract against the seller if the seller does not fulfill the obligation. Besides that, the buyer can also ask for collateral from the seller. Seventh, termination of contract. The contract can be terminated under three conditions. First, non-fulfillment of obligations by both parties. Second, mutual consent of both parties, and third, judicial rescission of the contract. And last principle is options on non-compliance. If the subject matter is not in conformity with specification, the buyer can either reject the subject matter or accept it without seeking damages.
Issues and solutions.
There are some issues upon Istisna financing. 1. Lack of awareness and transparency. 2. Delays and cost overruns. 3. Dispute resolution mechanisms. 4. Insufficient product variety and competition. 5. Regulatory and accounting challenges.
And the proposed solutions may be as follows. 1. Enhanced education and clearer communication. 2. Robust project management and risk mitigation strategies. 3. Effective and efficient arbitration processes. 4. Market diversification and regulatory incentives. 5. Harmonization of regulations and accounting standards.
Let's go through the comparative analysis of the financial reporting frameworks for Bank Muamalat and Kuwait Finance House. As we look at the first row, under regulatory framework, we observe that Bank Muamalat adheres to three principal regulations: the Malaysian Financial Reporting Standards, known as MFRS, the International Financial Reporting Standards, or IFRS, and the Companies Act of 2016. Conversely, Kuwait Finance House operates under the IFRS as adopted by the Central Bank of Kuwait for use in the state of Kuwait. Moving on to measurement, both banks utilize the historical cost principle. This means that their financial assets and liabilities are recorded at their original purchase value without adjustment for inflation or market fluctuation. In terms of functional and presentation currency, Bank Muamalat reports in Ringgit Malaysia, abbreviated SRM, reflecting the currency of the principal economic environment in which it operates. Kuwait Finance House, on the other hand, uses the Kuwait dinar, abbreviated as KD, aligning with its economic context. Lastly, under disclosure, both banks have reported Istisna financing contracts as assets in their financial statements. As a conclusion, this comparative framework highlights the nuanced differences and similarities in financial reporting requirements and practices between the two institutions, reflecting their adherence to both local and international standards.
Now, we're going to take a close look at the financial statement analysis for two banks, covering a 5-year period from 2018 to 2022.
Back in 2018 and 2019, things were looking great for Istisna financing. It was a popular choice, making up over 0.5% of the bank's total financing. That was the best year for this type of funding, with the bank handing out just over 83 million RM. But since that high point, every year, fewer people have been choosing this funding option. By the next year, 2019, the amount dropped a bit, and then in 2020, it went down even more. It's like watching a slow slide down a hill, and by 2021, the numbers had halved compared to 2 years before. Then we come to 2022, and we see the smallest amount in the 5 years, with just over 9 million RM given out as Istisna financing. That's just a tiny sliver of the bank's financings, only 0.04%. It's worth pondering why Bank Muamalat Istisna financing has diminished recently. There could be a few straightforward reasons. Perhaps customers now prefer alternative financing types, particularly if economic conditions are prompting a cautious approach to borrowing for substantial projects. More stringent regulations could also be rendering these financings less appealing. Moreover, competition from other banks offering more attractive deals cannot be discounted. Additionally, it is possible that the bank itself is strategically opting to prioritize different services. In essence, the interplay of market demand, economic variables, and competitive strategy is pivotal. This brief overview provides insight into the recent downturn in Istisna financing at Bank Muamalat.
Let's quick tour of Istisna financing at Kuwait Finance House over the last 5 years. In 2018, we started off on solid ground, with Istisna financing playing a notable role in the bank's offerings. Come 2019, it hit a high note, becoming a star performer in the financing portfolio. Yet, the spotlight dimmed slightly as we saw a gradual dip over the next 2 years, reflecting a bit of a cooling off period. But just when it seemed like a downward trend was set, 2022 brought a plot twist, a resurgence that surpassed even the best days of 2019, putting Istisna financing back on the map. This story of ups and downs is not just numbers, it's about adapting to change and bouncing back. It showcases Kuwait Finance House's ability to navigate the waves of the financial market. Observing the trends in Istisna financing at Kuwait Finance House invites inquiry into the underlying factors. Economic fluctuations invariably impact investment appetites and borrowing capabilities, while regulatory shifts might alter the landscape of financial offerings. Competition among banks, always vying for clientele with attractive terms, can redirect customer preferences. Internally, the bank's strategic focus might evolve, potentially de-emphasizing certain products in favor of others. In essence, these dynamics, economic, regulatory, competitive, and strategic, shape the contours of Istisna financing's presence within Kuwait Finance House's portfolio.